Okay, good morning everyone. We are on our module 6. So we have two lessons for module 6, module 6.1 and 6.2. So first we will be dealing with the importance of entrepreneurship in the economy. Okay? So our lesson for today will be based from the following objective: describing the economic system, identifying the different economic systems, examining the demand and supply relationship, just a short overview about supply and demand relationship in line with the entrepreneurship, exploring the role of competition in the market economy, the profit motive, and learning about non-profit organizations. So those are the topics that deals with the entrepreneurship in the economy as to module 6.1. So before we proceed in understanding what is economic system, I want you to write down this question, okay? We will be answering this on our LMS assignment, okay? So base your answer for this question will be based from the understanding you have. So be prepared to discuss your answer in the under the assignment that was uploaded in the LMS. Okay, so is making a profit a good thing? Okay, so I repeat the question: is making a profit a good thing? So it is a question to be answered later on. Okay, so by the way, what is economic system? Economics, we will be defining first what is economics. So basically, economics is a social science concerned with how people satisfy their demands for goods, which is the things they can buy, and the services or the things people do for a fee when the supply of those goods and services is limited. Okay, this is somewhat a technical definition. So what does this really means? Okay, so economics is all about the flow of goods and services between people. It is measured in numbers. So economics always involve mathematics. However, economics is called a social science because people play the central role in it. It is the people who decide which goods and services have value, di ba? You are the one who are deciding what value, how these goods services has a value, or what does that value is. It is you people who decide how goods and services should be used and how will they be distributed within a society. So, it is also people who decide whether to buy or to sell goods and services, di ba? So, ultimately, math may be the language of economics, okay? But people are its soul. So, in economics, guys, math is a language for us to express our decision in making a decision whether we will be buying this one, how much its value, how much this value to us, di ba? Mostly, people buy products because of the benefit they are getting from it. Okay, I am always telling that people buy products because of the benefit they can have from it. Okay, so Earth's population here, the second row, Earth's population grow largely every day. So for more understanding more on the economics and the relationship of it to scarcity, okay? So Earth population grows largely every day. Most people means that there will be a greater demand for food, for clothing, for housing, and all of other essentials of life, okay? So these essentials are what we need, but we also want things that are necessary to survive, okay? This is our wants. Okay? So, pag sinabi nating needs, those are the necessary things that we need in order for us to survive, like food, clothing, housing, and essential. Ito yung mga products unsought unsought products. Kasi hindi mo na kailangan pang i-survey because it's a very visible naman that all people needs food, clothing, housing, and other essentials of life. Actually, as days goes by, yung aircon noon na once lang naging needs na ngayon because of the climate change. So, may mga necessity noon na sa tingin natin ay wants pa, pero ngayon needs na siya. For example, ngayon pandemic, we are facing pandemic then yung wants noon like mga sasakyan, minsan ngayon nagiging pangangailangan na natin para makapunta tayo sa work, makatravel from one place to another na safe, na hindi tayo nakikipagsiksikan sa isang public utility vehicles. Okay? So those are different presentation of needs and wants as they go along with the Earth's changes and the economic changes. Okay? So, pag sinabi mong demands, pag sinabi mong wants, you are trying to satisfy your needs and your wants by buying these goods and services that have value to them. Okay? So, people like you are buying something na, like yung cellphone nung unang panahon, that is just wants. Pero ngayon, pangangailangan na siya. So, those needs and wants, you are buying that because you are satisfying yourself, and that is very valuable to the people. Okay, so the demand for goods and services is often the larger than the supply that can be provided. Minsan, nagmamahal ang isang bagay, nagmamahal ang price ng isang bagay because mas dumarami yung demand for that rather than the supply that we can provide. Like for example, yung face mask, di ba? Hindi natin inaasahan that face mask magbo-boom yan. 'Di ba? So, nagkaroon tuloy ng problema when it comes to the supply. Okay? So, when there are not enough to meet the demand, the result is what we call the scarcity of these goods and services. So, that's just a typical explanation about how economic work. For example, yun nga, pag mataas ang demand at mababa ang supply, the result is what we call the scarcity of those goods and services. Okay? So next, economic system or the economy itself. So there's a difference between economics and economy system. So economy system or economy in short is a method used by a society to allocate goods and services among its people and to cope with scarcity. Okay? So, political, moral, and cultural factors affect what kind of economic system develop and thrive in different societies. So, every economic system usually answers some questions like, what goods and services na pwedeng i-produce sa mga tao? Ano ba yung mga pwedeng i-produce natin goods and services sa kanila? Di ba? What quantity of goods and services are to produce, 'di ba? So yun yung kasi sistema yan eh. Paano natin ibibigay sa kanila yung mga pangangailangan nila? So these four basic questions, these are the fundamental questions of economics. Para yung method na yan ma-perform natin or ma-perform ng gobyerno or ng mga businesses sa kanilang mga kliyente or sa mga tao or sa society. So unang-una, aalamin what goods and services are to be produced, di ba? Pangalawa, yung quantity of goods and services na napuproduce. Pangatlo, paano ipoproduce or how are goods and services produced? And pang-apat, for whom are goods and services are to be produced. So yung apat na yun, unang-una, ano ang goods and services na ipoproduce? Pangalawa, ilang goods and services ang ipoproduce? Sino ang pagbibigyan ng mga goods and services na to? And paano i-produce yung goods and services? So that four questions are the fundamental questions in economic. Okay? So going further with the discussion, there were different kinds of economic system. So there are two types of economic system. Ito yon, the command economy and the market economy. So these two different types of economic system are often used to compare how society deals with the fundamental questions of economics. So ano na ulit yung fundamental questions nila? Yung apat na diniscuss ko a while ago. So these two types of economy, or economic system rather, the command economy and the market economy, are basically forms of economic system. Yung sistema kung paano ma-perform ang economics. 'Di ba? Kasi pag sinabi natin economics, it concerns mga tao, 'di ba? Yung nakikita natin yung mga pangangailangan nila. Pero yung economic system, kung paano pupunan yung mga pangangailangan na yon, paano gagawin. So, there are two kinds of economic system, yung command economy and the market economy, okay? In reality, guys, no country, tandaan nyo yan, no country has a pure command economy or pure market economy. Wala yan. Walang specific country ang na poportray nila ang pure command economy na yan and the market economy. Okay? Kasi usually they always lead to the third economic system, pero hindi pa rin siya part ng types niya, pero doon siya napupunta lagi. Why? Ito yung tinatawag nating mixed economy naman. Okay? So, this is an economic system that blends the two, the command economy and the market economy. Ano ba yung command economy? Okay? So, based from the definition, the command economy, the government owns or manage the nation's resources and businesses. So, ito yung mga government-controlled businesses. Okay, so the government control what supplies to produce, or sino yung mga suppliers na magpo-produce, what to produce, and how to produce. Sila yung nagre-regulate ng how goods and services are distributed around the country and the prices people pay for them. Okay, so ultimately the government decides the answer for the fundamental questions of economics, yung apat. Nakapaloob dyan yung 4. Okay? So, under naman sa market economy na tinatawag natin, suppliers produce whatever goods and services they wish and set prices. Sila nagsiset. Pero sa command, ang nagsiset ng price is the government. Okay? So, command economics or command economy are associated with political system in which the government has strict control over the prices. Dinidictate nila yung mga prices natin. Sa ibang bansa, di ba? Although no country at present has a pure command economy, but some country come close to it. May mga countries na close to that, applying the pure command economy like Russia, China, Syria, Iran, North Korea, 'di ba? Yung North Korea, pag pupunta ka lang sa isang department store, pag may bibilin ka, hindi mo pa mapahawakan 'yun, ituturo mo lang. 'Di ba? 'Yun yung mga 'yon. So these are the countries to have command economies. In these countries, guys, government planner usually make economic decision and long-term plan for the nation. Okay? So the government control of most resources and businesses sa country na to were mainly controlled by the government. So, entrepreneurship may be allowed to a small degree, pero as long as it doesn't interfere with the overall government control of the economy. So, pwede kang magnegosyo doon, pero yun nga lang, pwede sila magnegosyo, pwede kang magnegosyo, pero yun nga lang, you have to abide, or as long as hindi ka lumalampas doon sa regulated policy ng gobyerno nila. Okay? So, ang market economy has a big difference with the command economy kasi the market economy, suppliers produce whatever goods and services they wish to set, and they set the price to those consumers who are willing to pay. So, sabi ko nga kanina, usually walang country ang nag-apply ng pure economy and pure market economy kasi iilan lang ang mga countries talaga na regulated by the government. Pero, like for example, dito sa market economy, sa panahon natin dito ngayon, di ba, siniset natin yung price, pero minsan, kailangan, nakadepende pa rin sa DTI approved prices, di ba? Lalo ngayon, mayroong scarcity na tinatawag natin. Scarcity sa baboy, di ba? Yung meat ng baboy because affected pa rin ng ASF problem. So, ilan na lang yung nagsusupply or nag-grow, nagre-raise ng baboy, 'di ba? Ng pigs. Okay, mga poultry about pigs. Pero demand still increases. Okay? Demand andun pa rin yung mataas pa rin yung demand compare mo sa supply. Pero because of the limited supply, hindi pwedeng i-manipulate yun ng market. Okay? So, andun pa rin, pumapasok pa rin yung company. Regulated pa rin yung price. Nire-regulate pa rin nila yung mga prices natin. Yung DTI, di ba? Minomonitor nila yan. Pati yung pagmomonitor nila ng alcohol dati, yung price ng alcohol tsaka ng face shield, di ba? Minomonitor nila yan. Nanghuhuli sila ng mga businesses na nagtatago under the name of kanilang business na nakaregister, tapos sila binibenta nila triple the price, four times the price ng mga alcohol, mga ganon. So, hinuhuli nila yon, bawal yon. So, sa panahon natin ngayon, and most of the country do not purely apply command economy and market economy. Mixed economy ang tawag doon. Although hindi siya type of economic system, pero usually mixed ang ginagamit nila. It's either 50% command economy, 50% market economy. Okay, so in a market economy, guys, the price of a particular goods or the products or the services is determined by supply and demand. Okay, so suppliers control the amount of price or amount of supply. That is, they decide what quantity of goods and services they are willing to sell. Yun yung tinatawag natin market share. Kung maalala nyo yung discussion natin about BCG, yung growth, 'di ba? Meron tayong market share tsaka market growth na tinatawag. So, in market economy, most of the suppliers, so yung mga nagbebenta, they have the control on what particular percentage or what particular number of supplies they can provide, or the quantity of the products and goods and services or amount of supply that they can produce or they are willing to sell at a particular price. Okay? So, consumers now decide how much they are willing to pay. Diba? Yun yun. So, yun yung difference between command and the economy. Sa economy, market economy, majority ng mga suppliers o mga nagnenegosyo, they are the one who set kung ilan yung kaya nilang i-produce. So, giving you an example, this is the voluntary exchange, okay, na tinatawag nila. So, yung voluntary exchange na yan is a transaction in which the supplier and the consumer, both of them believe that they benefited with it, okay? So, paano nabe-benefit yung dalawa in this transaction? Okay? The suppliers are benefited through income na nakuha nila from the client. Kasi the client are willing to pay the specific amount or specific price of the product they are selling. So, benefit naman kay client is yung satisfaction niya, yung na-meet yung needs and wants and beyond wants niya. So, that is what they call the voluntary exchange. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, it is a transaction in which both suppliers and the consumers believe that they benefited with the transaction that has made. Okay? So, ito yun. Okay? People are free to become entrepreneur and own and operate the business under market economy. Okay? They are the one who has the capital. Tinatawag nilang the one who owns the business and having the goods and services, ang tawag doon capital. Pero the one who has a free enterprise system is the capitalism, or individuals and businesses are free to own their trade or businesses or trade their goods and services and invest cash in the businesses. Okay? So, next natin is pag-aaralan natin na short overview about supply and demand. Although I know under economics siya, pero entrepreneurship also has to deal with the economics. Okay? Supply is the quantity. Okay? Supply is the quantity of the goods and services. Supply is a quantity of goods and services a business is willing to sell at a specific price and a specific time. So, meron tayong tinatawag dito na supply curve. Okay? So, a supply curve on the graph, look at the graph, shows the quantity of a product or services a supplier is willing to sell across a range of prices over a specified period of time. The quantity is shown in the x-axis. Okay? And price is shown on the y-axis. Okay, so the supplier is willing to provide more of the price. If the supplier is willing to provide more as the price increase and less as it decrease. Okay, so saan dyan ang explanation nun? Okay, so kung makikita ninyo guys, low quantity supplied at a low price. High quantity supply, that's a low. So, yun yung supply curve na tinatawag natin. Yung the x-axis and yung x-axis, nakikita yung price. Ito, x-axis. Dito. And y-axis naman, pag ganon, is the price. Okay? Dito. So, dito is the quantity. The x, dito ang x. Dito ang y. Okay? So, pag mataas ang quantity at higher price, mataas din yung price, so the price increases and less as it decreases. So yun yung supply curve na tinatawag natin na pag the supplier is willing to provide more, diba? As the price increases and less as it decreases. So, ibig sabihin guys na if the supplier are willing to provide more habang tumataas yung price ng produkto niya kasi mataas yung demand, the more din na tataas yung presyo ng produkto niya. Kasi ang daming gustong bumili. Like for example, yung alcohol. Alam niyang in demand siya, 'di ba? So kung low quantity siya, ang taas ng demand, low quantity supplied at a low price, siya pa rin yung talo kasi andito pa rin siya sa low price. Pero as they supply higher number of supplies for that particular goods, the higher the supply at a high price, kikita sila. Okay, so yun yung supply curve na tinatawag nila. It shows the quantity of a product or services a supplier is willing to sell across the range of prices. So, sasamantalahin mo as a supplier to provide the supply needed habang mataas pa yung demand. Okay? Next natin is understanding about the demand curve. So, by the way, demand is a quantity of goods and services consumers are willing to buy at a specific price and a specific time. Okay? So, dito naman, pabaliktad siya. Okay? A demand curve shows the quantity and price relationship acceptable to the consumer. Okay, so sa tingin nyo, why is the demand curve sloping different direction than the supply curve? Okay, so naka-indicate dyan guys that the demand curve on the graph shows the quantity of products or services consumers are willing to buy across a range of prices over a specified period of time. So once again, the quantity is shown in the x-axis Okay, so look at the, once again, you have to look at the curve, di ba? Look at the curve. So, the quantity is shown on the x-axis and the price on the y-axis. Di ba? Y-axis, then the x-axis dito sa baba. Yan. Okay? Consumers are willing to buy more of the product at a lower price than a higher one. So, kung titingnan nyo yung dalawa, kahit naman kayo, hanggat, halimbawa, yung product naman na yun, hindi naman siya that mataas yung pangangailangan, you are willing to buy more of this product at a low price than the higher one, di ba? So, andun pa rin kayo sa low price. High quantity at a low price pa rin ang nangungunang explanation for that. Okay? So, tignan natin yung intersections nila. Kasi, di ba, napansin nyo kanina that the supply pataas, dito naman is pababa yung kanilang pangangailangan. So, look at the balance. Supply and demand are balanced at the middle. Okay? So, the equilibrium price. So, you have to meet in between. Kung dito sa prices ninyo, halimbawa, 10, 20, 30, 40. Kung sa 40, dun mo siya ibenta. Okay? So, the supply and demand is a graph that includes both a supply curve and a demand curve. It shows the relationship between price and the quantity of a products or services that is supplied and demanded. Okay, the equilibrium point here is where the supply curve and the demand curve intersect. Diba? They meet in between. This is the point at which the supply and demand is balanced. Okay? The x-axis coordinates yung dito, x-axis coordinates the x-axis coordinates of the equilibrium identifies the equilibrium quantity. Okay? This is the quantity at which the supplies equals the demand. So, paano yon? If a supplier produces more than the equilibrium quantity, there will be a surplus of the items, di ba? Kasi sobra yung kanyang supply. Bababaan niya ang kanyang price. If that's the case. To sell them in a surplus items, syempre yung supplier have to lower the price, di ba? If a supplier produces less than the equilibrium quantity, then there will be a shortage of the items kasi kukunti lang yung kanyang sinupply pero yung demand mataas. For example, dito, di ba? Dito siya. So, tataas yung price kung nandito siya na part, di ba? The supplier will miss out the sales that could have been made kasi hindi niya na-meet yung gitna. So, andito yung supply niya, tataas yung price. So, pag tumaas yung price, hindi niya mamimiss out niya yung sales. Why? Majority of the clients demanded for a product at a low price. So, hindi lang naman siya kasi yung supplier ng buong mundo. Marami pa rin dyan. So, kung hindi mo ma-meet yung market share na tinatawag natin, you will not be able to achieve the market growth. Okay? So, y-axis coordinates the y-axis coordinates ito. Of the equilibrium naman, it identifies the equilibrium price. So, this is the price at which supplies equals the demand. So, pareho pa rin. So, ano ibig sabihin nun? It is the price the buyers are willing to pay and the supplier is willing to accept. Okay? So, sa supply and demand curves, this is one of the tools. So, dapat maintindihan nyo yung point dyan na dapat as an entrepreneur, you know how to meet the balance ng demands and needs. Kaya, halimbawa, ang tinarget mong market share is kokonti. Tapos, nung gumawa ka ng supply curve, nakita mo na hindi ka man lang umabot sa intersection. So, pag hindi kayo umabot sa intersection, then, hindi natin alam if they will be going to buy your product or not kasi hindi lahat ng company kagaya mo na hindi i-meet yung market share. So, ibig sabihin nun, kailangan taasan mo pa yung market share mo in order for you to have a balanced supply and demand. Kasi if there is a balanced supply and demand, then there is equilibrium quantity na tinatawag natin. There will be there will be a buying power na mangyayari dyan. Kasi both of you, the supplier and the customers are willing to have a sale na tinatawag nila. Okay? So, supply and demand curves are one tool of most entrepreneur in order for them to determine the price to charge for their goods and services. So, syempre, the more na tumataas yung supply mo, the more naman na tumataas din yung expenses mo, the more din na tumataas ang presyo ng produkto mo na i-introduce mo sa market. Kasi dito, halimbawa, low quantity supply, that low price, ang baba nga, pero hindi man lang niya na-meet yung demand. So, walang sale na mangyayari. Okay? So, ito naman, you produce products higher than that. Tapos, ito rin yung demand ng mga kliyente. May intersection na nangyari dyan. So, there must be a sufficient demand for a product to make it a worthwhile for a supplier to produce it. Kasi, kailangan mo ring aralin kung dapat may demand. Kailangan aralin mo kung there is a sufficient demand for a product to make it worthwhile for the suppliers to produce it. Okay, so next natin. So, tandaan nyo guys hindi natin masyado i-discuss ang demand and supply. Just illustrating you that the company must meet the balance in order for you to have sales. May sale na mangyayari. Kasi pag walang demand, yung supply mo, walang bibili ng supply mo. So, this supply and demand curves is very important to most of the entrepreneurs for them to determine yung prices to be charged for their goods and services. So, demand and supply curves, inaaral ng mga entrepreneurs for them to know kung magkano ang magiging presyo ng kanilang produkto. Okay? So, next natin is about profit motive. Okay? Ano ba yung tinatawag nilang profit motive na yan? Okay? Yun. Profit motives, guys, is a very simple term. A business makes a profit when the amount of money coming from sales is greater than the business expenses. Ganun lang siya. Parang ito yung expenses mo, 10 piso, nabenta mo yung product mo ng 15 pesos, so yung 5 pesos is your profit. Okay? So, napakadali lang naman i-analyze yun. Okay? So, profit is a business reward. Okay? Business reward yun. Okay? So, entrepreneurs choose how to use their profit. So, napaka-importante that you have to understand your curves. Kasi, yung mga curves ninyo, doon nyo makikita kung ano yung mga pangangailangan ng company. Tandaan nyo guys doon sa business, kailangan ma-identify mo muna yung kung ano yung motives mo. Minsan din, itong profit motives mo na to, yung incentives mo na to, hindi ka pwedeng magpresyo ng pagkataas-taas para kumita ka ng pera agad-agad. Why? It's because of this, the competition. Okay? So, competition is mostly about if a suppliers lower the price of a products or services, consumers typically buy from the supplier rather than the others. Kung sino may mababang presyo, dun sila bumibili. Okay? So, in a market economy, there is only one competition between suppliers, but also competition between consumers. So, when consumers compete against each other to buy product, they pushes the prices upward. Gaya ng mga nangyayari sa mga phones ngayon. Like iPhone, di ba? Nag-uunahan sila kung paano bilhin yung pinaka-latest. So, that pushes the product upward. Kasi ibig sabihin tumataas yung demand for the product. Okay? So, the profit motive has to come along with the competition. Ang role ng competition is binabalanse niya yung sa supplier and the consumer na nagtatalo-talo sila. It balances the price. Kasi kung may competition, may pagpipilian ng mga client. Kung may pagpipilian ng mga client, mag-uunahan sila, then that pushes the products upward. Okay? So, entrepreneurs use this, yung skills to outperform the competition. Minsan talagang they do tougher competition para i-push nila yung kanilang mga products. Minsan gumagamit sila ng mga artista, 'di ba? So yun yun. So yun yung difference ng dalawa. Motives has come along with the competition. Okay? So next natin is about the economics of one unit. Okay. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng economics of one unit? Okay? It is often helpful. This is very helpful minsan sa mga entrepreneurs for them to calculate the profit they make for the services or the products they sell. For example, the entrepreneur would like to sell t-shirt, 'di ba? Gusto niyang malaman kung sa t-shirt na binebenta niya, ilan yung profit niya, 'di ba? For example, selling price mo is 20 pesos, tapos ang expenses mo is 15, that is profit. Ngayon, kung ang selling price mo is 18, tapos ang expenses mo is 22, that is loss kasi mas malaki yung expenses mo than your selling price. Okay? So, the economics of one unit is a calculation of the profit and the losses. Diba? It allows you to have a calculation of one product para alam mo na kung mafi-figure out mo na what unit or what a unit of sales is. Okay? So, economics of one unit is very helpful in order for you to calculate the profit and the losses of one unit of a product. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, it allows you to calculate one product para alam mo na kung magkano magiging income mo for the whole product. Okay? If this equation result to positive number, then you are making a profit. If this equation result to negative or loss, you have a loss. Okay? So, most of the business, for them to be successful in their financial aspect, the economic of one unit must result in a profit. So, ibig sabihin kayo, halimbawa, gumagawa kayo ng produkto. So, yung ginagawa nyong produkto is, 100 piraso kayo ng produkto. I-compute nyo yung kita nyo sa isang unit. So, paano ba i-compute yung kita? You have to calculate all the expenses muna. Tapos, i-divide ninyo kung ilan yung na-produce nyong product, then, that is your expenses. Ngayon, magkano mo siya ibebenta? Halimbawa, kasi usually, mga entrepreneurs ngayon, basta nakapagbenta. Kasi minsan, halimbawa, yema. No. Siomai. Kasi ang siomai, iba-iba yung price. May nagpa-price ng 10 per peraso, may nagpa-price ng 5 piso per peraso, ganon. So, kung sasabayan mo sila, tapos ito yung expenses mo, lugi ka. So, para malaman mo kung magkano mo siya ipipresyo, i-compute mo muna yung isa. Ngayon, kung ang selling price mo 5 piso, tapos ang expenses mo is 8 pesos, then you have a loss of 3 pesos. So, paano ang gagawin mo? You have to increase your price para magkaroon ka ng profit. And pag na-compute mo na isa, automatically, you have your income for the whole production. Yun yung about economic of one unit. Ganito siya. Yan. So, this is the other way for you to look for the profit. For example, ang profit na gusto mo is 2 pesos, 2.2 pesos, di ba? Kasi minsan, ma'am, ano yung profit? Ano ba yung markup? Usually, may mga markup yan 40%, gano'n. So, depende pa rin. So, paano mo ngayon malalaman kung ilang porsyento ang profit mo? Yung tinatawag nilang markup. Okay, you have to divide first. Halimbawa, ang gusto mong price is 20 pesos dun sa siomai mo na yan. Tapos, ang gusto mong profit mo sa isang siomai is 2.20 pesos. Kamo, yun. Halimbawa, profit mo is 2.20 pesos, divide mo siya sa 20 kasi sabi mo, isa siya yung selling price mo. Times 100. Bakit 100? Halimbawa, na-produce mo 100, di ba? So, yung lalabas doon, i-compute nyo. 2.20 pesos divided by 20 pesos times 100. 100 is 100 pieces yan, ha? 100. 100 is 100 constant for us to get the percentage. Okay? Kasi ang makukuha nyo dyan, dividing the profit to selling price is decimal. So, you have to multiply it to 100 para makuha natin yung percentage. So, 2.20 divided by 20 times 100, which is constant, is equals to how many percentage? Ang lalabas dyan is, ilan ang lumabas sa computation mo? 2.20 divided by 20 times 100, which is constant, that is, 11%. So, ibig sabihin, sa isang siomai mo, ang tubo mo doon is 11%. Okay? So, now, nasa inyo na yun kung nabababaan ka ba dun sa 11%. Pwedeng, bababa naman dun. Paano kayo mga pamasahe, etc. Mga iba pang expenses na hindi ko na isama dito. So, nasa iyo yan kung ang gagawin mo is 30%, 40%. So, it really depends upon the profit motive that you have. Okay? So, nakadepende yun. Kung gusto mong 300, di ba? Nakadepende sa'yo yan. Pero, ang sabi nila sa mga mall, yun, matataas daw ang kanilang percentage ng pinapatong in every product nila. Okay? So, that's the end of our, this is just an example lang to, sample lang ng economic of one profit. Okay, next pala natin is the non-profit organization. Ito. Okay, ang mga non-profit organization is what we call, they mostly operate on, yung parang single unit sila, pero they are not governmental organization. They operate much like for-profit businesses, yung gaya ng kooperatiba, yun yung mga yan. So, ang mababa din ng presyo ng mga yan. Ang profit motive ng mga ito, medyo mababa. They earn, pero they abide by the law because of their social mission. May pagkakaiba ang mga non-profit organization sa mga businessmen na talagang earning money for the whole company. Okay? So, any questions, guys? You may write down your question and itanong nyo na lang sa GC natin regarding Module 2.6. Module 6.1. Okay? So, I attach some questions, actually activity for 6.1, which includes the two activity. Okay? So, any questions, guys? Okay, so that will be for this module 6.1. See you at 6.2. Good day.